What's up, YouTube? This is the Atheist Chef, and I have some fantastic news for the Christians. No. I haven't become a Christian. I'm actually just not going to pick on you tonight. I have actually gone a little bit different direction. I am starting a new segment or a small series, maybe only last 2 or 3 videos, called You Quran, but You Can't Hide from Science. See that? That's clever because it's Quran and can't run. Yeah, I'm a genius. It took me all night to come up with that. I'm really proud of it, actually. So what happened was I was just finishing up a web hangout or Google Hangout with Carlton George, Negation of P, and Matthew. Matthew, you really need to come up with a new name because your name's just not that interesting. Everybody's got at least like 3 syllables, and you just have Matthew. Anyways, I looked on my little Google Hangout, on my little inbox, and I got a message from somebody saying that the Quran is, proof. They have scientific proof that they had been, Muhammad had made predictions that, obviously were ahead of its time. And I've heard this before, but I've never really had the interest to really, read the Quran. I read the Bible like 3 times now, and to get into another book is just, but the person that spoke with, I'm not going to say their name, actually did me a great pleasure and actually basically went right to the reference, and I could look it up, and it was fantastic. I knocked it out in like 30 minutes, and then he sent me another one. I think it was this morning, in reply, and he sent me like another huge list of it. So and I knocked that one out by this afternoon. So I decided I'm going to make videos about this because this is really interesting. This is not something I get to do, and this is kind of a turning point. And I'm sure most people out here don't really have much interaction with the Quran or many Muslims or any believers in Islam. So maybe this video, guys, can help you out. Maybe it can help show you, make it an argument for these fallacies that you're going to see it, and it's going to be that's going to be pretty obvious to you guys. So anyway, I'm going to start this out. This may be 2 videos, but I'll get my first portion done tonight. So let's go. See not how Allah hath created 7 heavens in harmony, and hath made a moon and a light therein, and made the sun a lamp. Now, when I first read this, I first thought, I was like, well, this actually just pretty much sounds like it's saying that it's a light source within. But you know what? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just, reading a bad translation or something, Maybe it is. It is saying that it's a reflection from the sun, that the moon reflects the sun. Well, congratulations, Muhammad. So yeah, I guess maybe Muhammad was not aware that about 1,000 years prior, a Greek philosopher, Anaxagoras, was probably the first person or the first Greek philosopher to actually say that the moon actually reflects the sun. So, good job. But you're about 1,000 years too late. And he that createth the 2 spouses, the male and the female, from a drop of seed when it is poured forth. So the person that tried to point this scripture to me was telling me that this means that Allah was able to get divinely inspired to know that the X and Y chromosome found in the male sperm is what determines the sex of the baby. And of course, the scripture does nothing more than just say the males and females come from the sperm in general. That if you don't have sex, you're not going to have babies. Not exactly rocket science. Now, this is just a whole bunch of verses right here, and they all pretty much say the same thing, and I'll go into detail what they are, but you can read them for yourselves. Though there was a whole bunch of scriptures, I just really wanted to point out the key differences between them and to show the really bad science. Chapter 96, I guess, I don't know if you got a book 96, I'm sorry, 1 through 2, it says we're formed from a clot. However, in the other scriptures and other parts of the Quran, it talks about that they're made from mud, and then sometimes from clay, and then sometimes they're just made out of water, and then sometimes dust. So, you know, embryology, not so much. Then in 86, 5 through 7, it tries to say that the semen is stored up in the place between the loins and your ribs, because the testicles don't really do anything. And then the rest of the scriptures basically talk about things that we've known for a long time. That when you start to have sex and you climax, white gushy stuff comes out. And if it goes inside the female vagina, then you have a good chance of having a baby. So again, embryology at its finest. And there were gathered together unto Solomon his armies of the jinn and humankind and of the birds, and they were in battle order. Till when they reached the valley of the ants, an ant exclaimed, O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Solomon and his armies crush you unperceiving. Lo, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the difference of night and day, in the ships which run upon the sea, with that which is of use to men, and the water which Allah sendeth down from the sky, thereby reviving the earth after its death, and dispersing all kinds of beasts therein. And in the ordinance of the winds and the clouds obedient between heaven and earth are signs of Allah's sovereignty for people who have sense. Now, when I first read this, I thought of this immediately as some kind of metaphor that, Solomon's armies were so huge and powerful that when he came across this valley of people, that they were so scared and helpless that they, they were considered ants. Like, I thought it was a metaphor. But he's insisting that this is ants talking to Solomon. And then the ants offer their services. But they're ants. Like, ants are slow. Like, how is Solomon going to use these guys in battle? It just doesn't make sense. And secondly, ants don't talk. They don't have vocal cords. They either communicate by touch, by releasing pheromones, which is how you see them following the little trails behind each other. And thirdly, they use a process called stridulation or stridulation. Basically, it's kind of like when you hear the grasshoppers and whatnot, they rub their legs together. Basically, ants do a similar thing with different parts of their body as well. So, when you want to claim that the Quran teaches science and predicts science, you gotta make sure you don't start off by telling people that ants talk. Yeah, that's not science. No, not at all. Not science. Sorry, not science. Allah hath created every animal of water. Of them is a kind that goeth upon its belly, and a kind that goeth upon 2 legs, and a kind that goeth upon 4. Allah createth what he will. Lo, Allah is able to do all things. And he it is who hath created man from water, and hath appointed for him kindred by blood and kindred by marriage, for thy Lord is ever powerful. Now, when he pitched this scripture to me, he was saying that water that Muhammad has predicted is very vital to all creatures and plant life and things of that nature. However, when you read the 2 scriptures, it really just is saying that Allah has created everything from water. That everything was, the very source of everything is water, which, not true. I mean, yes, water comprises most of our body, but we weren't formed from water. And secondly, again, not exactly hard science to figure out, because we as humans get thirsty and we need water, and plants need water, and animals need water. People die without water. Not exactly rocket science, Muhammad. Again, not really predicting much. We figured that out a long time ago. But then it still has a problem because it goes in contrast to some of the other scriptures, like I brought up before, that it talks about being made from dust and mud and clay. So you're failing on 2 points there, guy. And he hath cast into the earth firm hills that quake not with you, and streams and roads that ye may find a way. Now this person used this scripture and 2 others to prove that mountains are firmly fixed, however are movable. Tectonic plates and whatnot. Now, this scripture here that I've shown you is the only one that talks about movement. In this translation, it talks that it quake with you, because it's so solid. Because if it wasn't solid, it would quake with you. And another translation said lest it move with you, and which was saying that it's so solid that it won't move with you. So that is the exact opposite of claiming that these verses say that mountains move or anything about tectonic plates. And again, congratulations on figuring out that mountains are hard to move. Who hath appointed for you fire from the green tree, and behold, ye kindle from it. In this, he tried to represent that the green tree was actually a metaphor for photosynthesis, and that it's required for the growth of plants and whatnot. However, I actually did some research on this and used a little bit of common sense. The scripture was talking about burning a tree, and the green tree, it was actually a sign that means that the tree was more alive. Because if you've ever tried to, if you've ever done a pile of wood, and if it's very dry and very and it's been out for a long time, then it doesn't burn really well, or may not burn at all. But if it's kind of recently chopped down and hasn't been still seems to have moisture or anything, it'll still burn. It'll actually burn really well. This is what a green tree meant. It had nothing to do with photosynthesis. And the close of night and the breath of morning. Now he tries to use this scripture to talk about how photosynthesis takes place in the morning, and that it's just better, you get better air, or there's more air in the morning time. Now, technically that's true. Photosynthesis does take place in the morning, and so the exchange of CO2 to oxygen does take place in the morning. However, this scripture has nothing to do with plants. Actually, he messes up, I believe, and uses this same set of scriptures to also refer to this, how this is relating to a black hole, calling it the piercing star. But I'll get into that into the next video. So that was interesting. So no, that has nothing to do with plant life and the exchange of CO2 for oxygen and things of that nature. Alright, that's it for the first part of Quran, but you can't hide from science. There will be a next part. I'll probably finish that up probably tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Hopefully, if something comes down the road and people talk about the Quran and how it, can scientifically prove things, hopefully these videos will help you out. I'm really enjoying this. I look forward to finishing up the second video and putting it out. So thanks a lot, guys. This is the Atheist Chef signing off. Make sure to, give me some thumbs up. Give me, subscribe to me. Tell your friends. Let them know how awesome I am. That I've debunked the Quran in 2 nights, and then and I'm really cool and I got a haircut. What? Anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Peace.